Celebrities provide an escape from the mundane. They are photographed so we can worship them, so they are worthy of our worship.
A photographic portrait is a picture of someone who knows he is being photographed.
Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. This is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
And we're at episode 242 for the middle of November 2025, which also happens to be the area code for the Bahamas. And I went and researched the area codes 242 since we're doing that.
Because we do that on a photography
Because we do
podcast.
that. Now people know that if we don't do that, they'll know that we've been abducted by aliens and we're pod people or something like that. I don't know. So anyway, now we're stuck in doing this. But apparently this area code was created in 1996 as a split from area code 809 and covers the entire country, including the major islands of New Providence and where the capital Nassau is in Grand Bahama. But what I did not know this was since the Bahamas is part of the North American Numbering Plan, NANP, you dial 1242 to call the islands from the U.S. or Canada.
Wow, that is
I did not know
cool.
that. Yeah, I did not know that. I didn't realize that there was a certain amount of countries in this northern hemisphere.
That is truly an area code. It's not a country code.
Right. It's an area code. So you could just, it's long distance, I'm guessing, but yeah. So see what we learn doing this area code stuff.
This is like, what's that, the telephony thing? Phreaking. It's
Phreaking. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Blue box.
Tones. The tones.
Yeah.
If everything's ready from the dark side of the moon, play the 5 tones.
Yeah.
We know what that's from.
Yeah.
Bonus points. Yeah.
Bonus points. Yes.
Yeah. For all we know that. Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. A busy day today, and stuff to do, and with the usual audio, issues and pushing things back.
Speaking of audio
trying
issues,
to get the gear.
Last episode we had some audio issues, didn't we, my friend?
Yeah, we did. I had the wrong mic turned on.
That was
still plugged
funny.
in.
Yeah, if we were looking at
funny, it didn't seem like it at the moment.
It didn't seem like funny. No, but from my end, we're looking at you and you have this mic in hand, and I'm thinking you don't sound quite right. It's like, but we let it alone until we figured out the wrong mic was on. So, yeah, that was we did the best we could. At least we could hear you. It was fine.
Yeah, it's still embarrassing. I pride myself on being on IT, and I'm the guy who has the most trouble with technical. Maybe it's I don't have the AV bug. I don't have the AV genes, the AV magic.
Yeah. Like that's not happened to the rest of us, right? Oh, did you plug it in? Did you try
rebooting
it? That's always the, when this is obvious, but my troubleshooting thing is with someone I do ask about plugging in, and they always look at me like sideways. I'm like, no, don't take it that way. It's always, to me, looking at the least expensive to the most expensive. Right. So in troubleshooting, what's the least expensive thing in the whole chain of things? Usually it's the cord that's attaching the thing to the wall, right? So if that's not working, then we work our way. If that's working, we work our way up. Generally, it's not the most expensive thing that's broken, somewhere in between. So that's,
It's a practical application of Occam's razor, by the way.
Ah, yes. I should, Occam's extension cord.
Troubleshooting thing, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. But anyway, yes, we had some audio issues, but I think the conversation was great. It was great having Dave on last week. So the plan is to have him on more. I know he's eager to hang out with us some more. So we'll plan to have him on more because I think he's also got a great voice for podcasting. Mm-hmm. You do too. Thank
you.
Both. That's why it was disappointing when you were talking. Then it sounded like you're talking to a telephone because you've got this great voice for radio. And it was
and a face for radio. I've done that joke already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We haven't done that. But anyway, so what have you been up to? What's been going on the past couple of weeks?
work. I had visitors over the weekend, family. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to have a visit and go eat Moroccan food for the first time
Oh,
in 20 plus years. That
you
was
have
an
Moroccan food.
experience.
Wow.
Moroccan food. So that was fun, a little bit different thing to do. And yeah,
Nice.
we're doing the usual.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Any photography gear purchased or the like or anything?
No, but I did sign up for a sports photography kind of workshop talk thing. A
Hmm.
couple of local photographers that have Olympic experience. One was an Olympian who shoots snow, the winter events. And the other one is actually an Olympic photographer, and I think I've spoken about her before.
Mm-hmm.
They're just coming and doing a talk about how to shoot sports, and so
Oh,
I'm really looking forward to it. And
well,
then
that's cool.
we'll go from there.
Where's
And
that
then
happening? At the camera store?
that's happening at our central library. So that
Oh, okay.
fancy architectural place with all the wood
Oh,
and
that
stuff
with all the
inside.
wood. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's where I
great.
saw Todd Hido actually was in that same
Oh,
lecture hall.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then the weekend after, so that's this week, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'm going to go to a speed skating event at the university. There's
Yeah.
a 1988 Olympic legacy speed skating oval. And I've done that a couple of times, the 2 or 3 times I've gone there. And this will be the first time with the 50 to 200 that I bought
Yeah,
from you.
yeah. You'll have a chance.
So
You
that'll
talked about
be,
that before. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now I've got a camera that can actually probably shoot sports now. So
Oh, well, you were doing pretty well before that, though. I mean,
yeah,
there was nothing wrong with your. I mean,
I was
you're,
compensating though. This will be, this
don't
will
we all
actually
do
be
that
fun.
sometimes?
I know, but this will actually be like, I'll be able to like feel good when I'm shooting, and I haven't done that yet. So that's the
Uh,
whole thing. Whether the pictures turn out or not, I don't care
yeah.
so much. It's just sort of, I want to be in sync with the camera. I want to
Uh-huh.
do the thing, and I want to have fun.
Have you gotten that
So I think,
autofocus figured out on the Fuji camera? Because that thing just gives me a
well, I've
headache.
got, yeah. So I, I did see a video, Fuji specific autofocus settings on the Tech YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel, I think. And he went over, here's the circumstances. You want to use this setting or that setting. So I'm going to watch it again and then set the camera to do that.
Yeah.
He showed some very good examples of which of those custom settings you need to have for different circumstances.
Okay.
And so this will be fast moving objects going through the frame and be sticky. So that's what I'm going
Okay.
for.
Sorry, I was going to take a moment to complain. So,
Okay.
everybody who's listening, I hope you can indulge me. This is my complaint time right now, and I'm going to try not to make any curse words because I know we're trying to keep a non-explicit thing. But in my opinion, Fuji autofocus bites the big one.
Mm,
For the life of me. So, look, I've played with Sony cameras before. I had my friend Sony. She lent it to me so I can use it to teach her how to use the autofocus on it, and because Sony's got incredibly good autofocus. And I swear, picking up that camera, and for the first time I picked it up, that thing was autofocusing on what I wanted it to autofocus on. It was
mm,
not giving me it wasn't giving me any back talk. Let's put it that way. So, and Nikon, when I used to work at the Nikon booth at B&H and I would play with the autofocus on that, I mean, I was just demoing people, especially when people are walking in and out of the store because it's all you can pretty much focus on. And the
mm,
autofocus was nailed on that, right? The Canon, what was it? The R3, right? Which is this $5,000 tank of a camera.
mm.
That autofocus is really cool because where you point your eye is where it autofocuses. And I didn't even have to calibrate my eye to do
Mm.
that. Right? You can do it. You have to do a calibration,
Yeah.
but basically you look through the viewfinder and wherever your eye goes, boom, it autofocuses there, right? Okay, great. Get to Fuji and it is like, well, there's all these excuses
Mhm.
about you need to do the custom settings, you need to do this, you got to do that. And if you're not doing it, one time I posted up something on Facebook about the focus because I had it on the bird algorithm, right? It's supposed to know a
Mhm.
bird. Looking at a bird, basically, in a way, silhouetted. I mean, not silhouetted, but it was, you know, there was nothing between, the bird and me, and in the background was just fuzz, right?
Mhm.
The lens could not focus on the bird. It went in and out, and it was blur, 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 and the bird took off.
Mm.
And this has been going on. And so as much as I love Fuji cameras because of all the stuff, their autofocus, I want to punch it in the face. We have an airport near us in Lincoln, but there's a lot of Air Force traffic takes off, and there was a tanker taking off. I mean, I was wondering what it is because it's like, what is that sound? And it was a 4-engine giant plane, and it's literally in the sky, and this blue sky, and it's the plane, and I've got Fuji's 150 to 600 with a teleconverter on it, right? So, and I'm pointing at the plane. Now I don't have the algorithm set up for planes, right? But I've got it as simple as you can, right? With the square in the middle, right? And I'm pointing at the object, and it's going, and it's like, it's not finding it. And the plane takes off behind the trees before I can get a shot of it. And this goes on constantly. I mean, I'll get shots with the birds. I'll see sometimes it locks on the eye and it does some great stuff. And it's a crapshoot. It's like whether or not I get it. And I've missed so many pictures and so many different kinds of birds. And of course, so one time I posted this on Facebook, and I got all these yahoos saying, "You're doing it wrong, right? I'm the one that's the problem, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm basically middle fingering them. Excuse me for saying this, but like, I'm like, you know what? And I've eventually just pulled the post because there was so much vitriol against me that I was just
religion.
Right. I mean, but it was like, it was unlike something, hey, like, let's help you figure this out. Like, what's going on, but there was all this defensive things about Fuji that was insane. And I was like, you know what did I do to deserve this? I'm just trying to get the damn camera to work. And they're telling me I'm the problem. So anyway, complaint engine now off.
I'll just pile on for a second. I won't take too long.
Yeah.
When I started going to those auto races, I had like a 2007 era Canon 7D. And I thought it was, again, I got it used from the camera store. It's APS-C, whatever. And then I got the 70 to 200, 80 to 200, no, 70 to 200 f4. Lovely lens, good combination. I would just have the center focus spot enabled, and then I'd prime, hit, do the thing. And it was bulletproof. It was like a tank, and right up until 2015, whenever switched to Fuji. And then this past, so that was fine. And I missed a few, blah, 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 but it met my expectation. And it was, the feeling I had was a tank. I got the XS20, lovely camera. I use it to shoot rodeo. Those subjects tend to be a little bit more static compared to like auto racing, then zooming by or whatever. So I set up the focus, setup rule thing. What's it called? Custom AF settings. Yeah. I set it the way I thought on the auto racing should go or whatever. And then I set the focus spot sort of two-thirds of the way to the right so that I could catch the car was coming through the frame, and then I could decide whether I wanted to pan or just have more than one car was in the frame. Like I had options, and it would jump off and go up into the fence and decide. And then I would watch this little green box go zooming over to the right and out of the frame. There's no car there. I had it for a car. And then you're like, and it was like happened again and again. And the feeling I had was like I was nursing. And I think when I spoke about it back in February, I felt like I had a precision instrument that I was tuning and tweaking. And it really, it frustrated me.
Yeah,
but I'll keep you posted. We'll see how things go. There's been 2 firmware updates since. Well, not since January, but
something like that. Yeah.
So, there's been at least 1 firmware update since. Yeah. So we'll see.
So I can hear the audience members of those, those are like Nikons and Canons saying, "I told you so," and especially the Sony. Although nobody can hold a light to Sony. I think Sony really has it nailed. Sony, anyway, so I know this is technical, going down a rabbit hole a little bit, but Sony really, once you figure it out, like there's a few things you got to figure out because this stuff is complex, but it is like bang, 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 bang. And they've got it. They have got it. And I really don't understand if they've got it, all these other engineers got to be as smart as those other guys, and I can't see what they can't figure out. And it's really frustrating, because we shouldn't have to fight the equipment to get these things. But anyway, that being said, I still love Fuji and yada, yada, yada. So anyway, okay, cool. So you've got these things coming up. I can't wait to see it. Be fun to see what you do with the 55 to 200, because you haven't shot this before. So yeah, all right. Well, cool. So speaking of sports, I did some sports photography this weekend.
Oh, okay. What did you do? More football?
Well,
what are you doing?
No. It was in Lincoln. They had what was called the Good Life Half C, which is it's a half marathon, and my girlfriend's son and his fiance ran it. It's a 13.1 mile marathon.
Okay.
And of course, it was Saturday, so 2 days ago. Absolutely freezing here. I mean, just like bitterly cold at the beginning of the race. There was just cloud cover, and it was windy. I can't believe how windy it was. And these people are in shorts, right? Everybody's running in shorts. Like, that's crazy. I know once they start running, they're fine. But we watched them at the beginning of the race, and then we went and found the midpoint of the race, I think, roughly. And Angie's daughter had a sign that had a little drawing of, I guess, from Mario
Kart or
Mario Kart, this little mushroom, and it said "tap here for a power up." And there was all these runners coming by, and they're tapping on the sign, and they're saying, "I need this power," and they're running by. And it was great because, and she's yelling encouragement to the runners, and I'm trying to think about what to photograph. And I finally I set myself up behind her with the sign, and I'm photographing all these runners coming up and slapping the sign. And they're all making all these sort of faces, and a lot of them are making beelines for the sign when they see it. And so they come up to the sign, they slap it. Some of them are actually looking at the camera at some point, because I'm literally standing right behind her. And I will say that the X100 VI was doing pretty good job at nailing focus. Like, I had the aperture down so I could get some depth of field, and it got a lot of I got a lot of keepers, let's put it that way. But what I enjoyed about it were the faces that the people were making as they were coming and hitting that sign. So anyway, I mean, it's not necessarily sports photography, and I shot it all in black and white. So I thought it was kind of a fun little mini project to do. And it was something that was better than standing there freezing to death. Cool. The camera behaved very well. I went through batteries like crazy, though, because of the cold. And
I see.
Yeah. So and this is this is the pro tip for people who are listening to the show and don't know this. But if you take your camera and you bring it out into the cold for a very long time, and when you're going to bring it inside, make sure that you keep it either in your jacket for a while, or make sure that you have a bag that's been outside for a while, and stick your camera in the bag and seal it, and then bring it inside. Because if you bring it in when there's an incredibly big change of temperature, you're going to risk condensation inside the camera, which you'll probably never get rid of, or at least it's very hard to get rid of. So as we're getting into winter, it mostly happens when it's very humid in one place or the other, right? Like, if it's outside, usually outside it's not humid because it's very rainy, like it's very cold. But you'll go inside where someone's got a humidifier on, or it's like a greenhouse or something like that. When you do that, that's going to be the biggest risk. So if you have your bag that's been out in the cold and it's been keeping the same temperature as your camera, before you go in, put the lens cap on, drop it in your camera bag, seal the camera bag, bring that in, and don't open it up for what would you say, like a half an hour, 20 minutes?
I'd go hours, a couple of hours, actually.
Couple of hours,
Like, coming from minus 30, it's
okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't use it for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. It does depend on the temperature. Maybe you take the card out before you get inside, because if you want to access your card, coming inside, you want to put it in your computer. I mean, I'm worried about condensation in the card. But leave it in the bag for a while. So that's my pro winter tip for you guys. So anyway, but
very good.
Yeah, and the only other thing is that I'm starting a photo club with the church that I had the show on.
Look at you.
Yeah, so
cool.
We're gonna have our first photo walk in on the 22nd, which is about 12 days from now. We're recording on the 10th. And I guess I'll be around the Capitol. And that Capitol building in Lincoln is gorgeous. On the inside, it's beautiful. The architecture, it is like, I mean, I would say if it's a photographer's, it's like a heaven for detail and architecture photographers, but it seems like it's a really perfect place to start a walk. And it's also indoors. Like there's an indoors and outdoors, but we can do, if it's really cold, you could probably spend all day indoors photographing. At least I could. So, and I've already been on a tour in there, and it was gorgeous. So, but anyway, that's all we got coming up photographically, for a little while.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's about it. That's all the news that's fit to print for now.
Cool.
So, yeah. So,
what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? What's the subject? I don't know what the subject. Well, this is one of those shows where like I wake up in the morning like, what are we going to talk about tonight? And so I'm going through. What am I going through? Facebook, and there is. Let me see if I can get the shots in front of me so I can look at them. There is, I don't know, someone I'm following that posts three pictures of Oscar Isaac photographed by Tyrell Hampton for GQ magazine. And it's 3 shots of, first of all, Oscar Isaac, I got a man crush on this guy, right?
Okay.
He is, to me, one of the best looking male actors that I've seen. I also really like his work. And I'm pretty much like anything he's in. I haven't seen, I want to see Frankenstein. It's now on.
My wife and we're planning to go see it in the theater before it leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We like the original Frankenstein too, so we want to know what.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I it's on Netflix now, so I think we'll probably watch it on Netflix. But anyway, he plays Victor Frankenstein on it. But anyway, there's 3 shots, so they're for GQ. I'll describe them quickly, but there's one shot of him. First of all, he's got this great beard on, right? So he's got the gray in his beard and stuff like that. He's walking through a hallway, like a red or dark brown hallway. The light is really direct on him. He's got a sort of a pink beige suit on. Looks really cool. The next shot is him sitting in a wicker chair. He's got these sort of leopard slippers on with no socks. And then the third shot, he's in this bathroom. He's sitting on a tub, and the bathroom is mostly blue and white. And he's like in a tank top and barefoot with pants. And the shot's really nice because the color, there's a very good color contrast there. It's the skin off the, off the blue of the tiles and stuff. Anyway, it struck me, I'm looking at these pictures. And first of all, I know we haven't talked about, or maybe we have, I don't know if we've talked about some celebrity photographers here. I mean, with Avedon and a few others, because we're doing deep dives on them. But what caught me about this was knowing the kind of work that he does. I don't know anything about him personally, other than what I read on maybe IMDb. So I don't know his personality and stuff like that. But I'm looking at these pictures, and first of all, they're very fashion-y kind of shots, right?
Right.
And I'm also wondering how much of him is in these pictures, especially the one that with the with the leopard slippers on. There's something about no socks and leopard slippers that says something. I don't know. I don't quite know, but I was like, is this really Oscar Isaac, or is he playing a role, or is he doing both? Like, who is he? And then the shot in the bathroom too. It's a very interesting. I always wonder about these celebrity shoots and how they figure out the locations to put these people in first. Like, what makes them, like, who comes up with this? Like, oh, let's put Oscar Isaac in a bathroom sitting on a tub. Like, where the hell does that come from?
Yeah.
I don't even know that. But that being said, I just wondered about portraits of celebrities and what's going on. And I know as sort of an overall broad topic, we really haven't talked about it much. When we talked about specific photographers, and that's very easy to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sort of do the overall big picture of celebrity photographers. And let me just say, I'm really biased. I absolutely love celebrity photography. There's something about it. I mean, I don't know, maybe like having grown up and seeing like Irving Penn shots of like Audrey Hepburn and Truman Capote and Salvador Dali, like I grew up seeing those pictures and I knew who those people were, but there is something in addition there when you're taking celebrity portraits. you're taking pictures of people who know what to be doing in front of a camera and know how to present themselves. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out as a topic. So
it's funny because you kind of, I think you and I have spoken about it too, but I really enjoy celebrity photography too. And the passionate way you're speaking about it, I'm just like, I'm coming out of the closet. I love this stuff. I just love it. And I do have I got the Annie Leibovitz book here. I got, and I've got a Bryan Adams book even. And that's a celebrity who takes celebrity pictures.
Oh yeah,
so we got layers, right?
Jeff Bridges too, right? Or even
Jeff Bridges,
Dennis Hopper.
Jeff Bridges,
Dennis Hopper.
his set pictures. Like there's just like people on both sides of the camera know what they're doing, and like you just said, right? And there's a certain quality, or how do I put it? Like a certain inevitability that the images are going to look good. And that in terms of celebrity photography, when you're younger, and I like girls and all that kind of stuff, your favorite actress, your favorite actress is on there, and you can stare at that picture for minutes, hours, and it's like you're making eye contact with your favorite whatever, My brother and I had the Farrah Fawcett poster.
Of course,
Farrah Fawcett.
So did I.
Poster, like there is, and it's a static image, and it's all like, it's satisfying as a viewer.
Well, hang on a second. Let's talk about the Farrah Fawcett picture just for a second. I mean, does that fit the bill of a celebrity portrait, or was that like a total marketing thing? Because I had the feeling that she was taking. Well, maybe not her, sure, but at that time she had a fame because of what, Charlie's Angels or something like that.
Yeah,
and that poster must have been. That's got to be one of the best-selling posters in the history of posters.
I think it is. Yeah,
and it's been.
I think it's all that image is above,
and the image has been duplicated too. I've seen other people like on purpose duplicate like the same kind of pose and stuff like that. But I don't know if that necessarily fits as a portrait. Well, you know what? Let's parse that out a little bit, because is she performing in the picture?
No.
Or is she being who she really is? And to step in for a second, we talked about it when we had the Richard Avedon show, was the portrait that he did of Marilyn Monroe. Like, he had been photographing her in her studio, and in a what was it, like during a break or something like that, she's sort of looking away from the camera, let her guard down, and he takes this great picture of her. And I think I remember that in the show, we not argued, but we discussed whether or not she knew what she was doing. Was she performing, putting her guard down or something like that? But the end result is a picture of like maybe a little bit of her being vulnerable to the photographer, So, a celebrity knows how to present themselves in front of the public, in front of a camera. And are they always performing? Are we seeing who they are? Is it a mix of both? I mean, what's going on in that Farrah Fawcett picture? I don't know. Doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even really know. Well, the intention was certainly to market her, and
yes.
And she had a background as a model before, so she certainly knew how to project. It was kind of a perfect storm of fame and a cultural, it went viral,
Yeah.
Whatever the 70s version of that is. I mean, we could take that kind of work and that poster particularly and set it aside, and that's related to celebrity photography.
Right.
But it's not in the way that we look at Irving Penn or an Annie Leibovitz, or there's I think there's a separation there, that the Farrah Fawcett poster was more of a kind of sexy cultural thing.
But even like going back to not in the same respect, but maybe in some respect, like these pictures from Oscar Isaac on GQ also maybe have a little bit of a marketing spin to them, whether it's marketing for Oscar Isaac or marketing for GQ or even for the photographer who took
For the
them.
movie too, because I mean, this is
Oh,
coincidental
with Frankenstein,
with
yeah.
the Frankenstein movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I didn't even think about those pictures in relationship to that movie in terms of the poses and stuff like that. I didn't think about that. I don't know if I pick up that magazine or maybe I have it like a digital subscription to it. I'd like to see the rest of the shoot. But
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of celebrities are photographed for magazines, right? You know, GQ and Vanity Fair, but that's been going on for a very long time. But
Yeah.
things like, you know, think of portraits of politicians. I mean, in some sense, they're celebrities as well. And think of what's his name? How do you pronounce his name? Platon,
Platon, I think is how he
Platon.
go.
You know,
Platon,
he's
yeah.
got these photographs of politicians. You know, I'll consider them celebrities because, in all intents and purposes, they are. You know, shots of Vladimir Putin or Obama or Bill Clinton. You know, and these very, very kind of like distorting wide angle shots, right? Like there's
Right.
that one
And it's
shot of,
almost like they're hanging their chin in the barrel of the lens, like they're really, really close.
oh, there's some that are really close. There's one shot that he took of Obama where Obama looks like he's got a pinhead because the wide angle is so low that
Hmm.
Obama's head is so far from the lens that he's got this small head, but it still has this sense of power or something like that. And even the one of Vladimir Putin sitting in this chair, well, almost like a throne or something like that. It's almost as if he's sitting like Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial, you know, like as if you're looking up at him, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but where I forgot where I was going with this. Help me out! Help me out!
Well, just about what are we branding here? Is it the
Yeah,
celebrity? Is it their current project? And it is. I mean, in the moment, I think it is. It's, you know, Audrey Hepburn has a new movie coming out, and so we'll not only do some publicity stills, or we'll hire a known photographer to take pictures of her for a magazine
right,
that
right.
is, you know, not related to the marketing effort to pitch the film. I mean, I think Hollywood has been doing that kind of thing for a long time, and they have allies in these fashion magazines and in these, you know, in these publications. They did. I don't know. It's kind of morphed a little bit more, but I mean, we see GQ and Vanity Fair
Mhm.
and Vogue. Even Vogue, they do profiles on celebrities as well.
Rolling Stone as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rolling
yeah,
Stone. Well, Rolling Stone is like, you know, she tries to have the zeitgeist, the popular culture going on.
yeah, yeah.
So
And they're high. I mean, we could probably find the level of, you know, marketing compared to portraiture on a scale, you know, like a, you know, thinking of things like GQ and these other magazines can be more like a marketing in some way. And, but maybe even like a Rolling Stone gets maybe closer to a more authentic. But the thing about the photographers who photograph them, I mean, going through the list of some, you know, the list is large, but you know, the ones that were popping up in my mind are Cecil Beaton, Joseph Karsh, certainly Irving Penn, Avedon, Platon, Dan Winters, Peter Lindbergh to some extent. I mean, you know, I was looking through his stuff. He doesn't have as much as everything, but there's some great shots of what's her name? Hang on, I gotta find the picture in my notes here. Kate Winslet that Peter Lindbergh did for Vogue. Now it was certainly for a magazine, but they have this feel more of her person rather than a fashion or marketing kind of shoot or something
right,
like that, you
yeah.
know? And then there's pretty much I want to say famous picture, but pretty famous shot of Kurt Cobain taken by Mark Siegler in
Mhm.
'94, which looks like it was done on like a 4x5 or something like that, like a Polaroid something or other, maybe even larger. And that really has the feels, you know, it doesn't look like a
Mhm.
marketing or something like that. You know, and knowing Cobain's struggles that he was going through at that time, you know, I mean, it's hindsight, of course, but you can really see something in that picture. To me, that seems less like a celebrity portrait than a portrait of a celebrity. You know what I mean?
Right,
If there's a
yeah.
difference. So, I mean, what are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking, well, you know, you let's say the agents for these actors or these celebrities look to pick a photographer that they think is going to, or the celebrity themselves choose a photographer that will bring something to project something of this personality, or they don't care about that. They want that particular photographer's spin on who they are. Like I think of Karsh, right? You're getting that lush lighting from Karsh and he's posing you, right?
Right.
It's like, this is a Karsh portrait and it's going to be formal and it's going to be beautiful. So don't you worry your pretty little head about that. And then you have these guys. Well, you have in the list here George Harrell, he did portraits that were essentially stills, promotional stills for the studios. And there's arc lights, he's pointing at the young actress and it's like the place is burning up and slow film. And,
yeah.
But there's this wonderful formality and the golden age of Hollywood, and we have easily separated the marketing aspect from his genius, his ability to capture something. And then, as we go through the 80s and so on, and Greg Gorman and Herberts and these guys who do these very often black and white celebrity portraits of both formal and with a little edginess, a little bit more sexiness to them. You get that from the photographer, and you want to hope it's a collaboration between the subject and the photographer that helps bring out something that's greater than the sum of the parts. But sometimes, like like I say, in like with Karsh, you get what he gives you. And so, I don't know if that's answering your question.
I don't know. I don't know if I just do I even have a question.
I'm just thinking of what is it that you get when you're looking at these celebrity portraits, right? And like you were saying, you really love this picture of Audrey Hepburn that was taken by.
I said that offline, but this is the shot. Actually, it's funny because I just posted.
That's what I meant.
I posted Irving Penn, right? It's the shot of Audrey Hepburn, 1951. She's off. It's a square frame, and she's off center, and she's smiling. She's got her hand in her chin in her hand, looking directly at the camera. She's cropped, like her right side is entirely cropped out. The top of her head is, she's making direct eye contact with the camera too. And she's got this just kind of wonderful smile, right? Closed mouth smile, open eyes, beautiful light in this, that Irving Penn light. To me, that feels so much like her as a person, and I don't know her person, right? But it has that feel, right? But I posted a few more shots up in there, and one is by Cecil Beaton, where she's wearing this hat. She's got this incredibly long neck. She's obviously a fashion. She's wearing some Givenchy hat. Givenchy.
Givenchy. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
I have lots of fashion magazines. Oh, they're telling more secrets.
Well, yeah. So fashion. We'll touch fashion at another point. Another shot by Avedon as well. That's a little more Avedon-y. And then also one by Joseph Karsh, which is, I don't know when it was done. It looks like it might have been done at about the same time in the early 50s. And it's again, it doesn't have that feeling of her as much as her being an object, to be photographed, But it's funny because I always think, like Irving Penn really brought out, like, I don't know, in my opinion, her personality in that picture. But yeah, the other, I was thinking also of this Martin Scholler, is that his name? A shot of Meryl Streep, and she's directly in the camera. Big banks of light, very little makeup on, right? So you can see her skin texture and whatnot, and she's pretty much staring right at the camera. And it's kind of an unforgiving position for a celebrity to be in. And I'm sure there are other celebrities who would, or people in general, I should say, maybe not celebrities, but everybody who would want to stick their face that close in the camera with that much, revealing of them. And so to me, like say in this case, the Meryl Streep picture, because I know photography and I know what's being presented to me, and I'm imagining like it takes a certain personality of a person to, for instance, say, I'm going to be photographed in this way, revealing of myself. And she knows she's public, right? So this picture is going to be seen by zillions of people. And that
Mm-hmm.
to me tells a little bit more about the personality of the person. Whether I'm accurate or not, I don't know. But there's a part of me that thinks that maybe she doesn't give a hell about, how she's seen, or she's very happy the way she looks about
Mm-hmm.
herself. She feels very confident about herself. There's a bunch of little tags I can put on that. Whereas,
Empowering others to be themselves. This is what
exactly.
I look like. You can look like the way you do. I mean,
Right.
I
Yeah.
find that very powerful, that Meryl Streep image.
Yeah.
And I don't think, oh my God, why didn't they? They could have smoothed the lines and look. No, 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 no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no.
This is who she is. This is
It's
perfect.
kind of like what's going on with I mean, I don't know much about that, but with Pamela Anderson, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has been all this big deal made about her going out in public without makeup, and she looks great. She looks like just a great human being, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she's now together with Liam Neeson, I think, right? They're
Yep.
what I heard was a pair, which, you know, all the pleasure and love to them. I hope
Yeah.
their relationship is a great time. And everybody's making such a big stink about her, saying, "Oh, she's out without her makeup and blah blah blah." And it's like, this is the way that most of us are in the world.
Yeah.
She's just now another person, and she's going in front of cameras that way, and so that has to say something about her personality.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to again, I don't know Oscar Isaac. Maybe he's listening to the show, so please don't think about it. Take this the wrong way, sir. But I don't picture myself wearing, leather. I mean, leopard pattern slippers, sitting in a, in a chair like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not. There's nothing that I can relate to in that
Mm-hmm.
picture. And of course, he's presenting himself this way. I mean, this is not.
Yeah.
He's an actor, and I'm not saying this is the way he lives, but the image is telling me something. Anyway, I'm sort of going off on this a little bit, but it's interesting to do this with celebrities because we think we know them in some way. We
Mm-hmm.
think we know them from the movies we see. We think we know them from the tabloids that write about them or whatever they say on the talk shows and stuff like that. And the reality is we don't really know them, but every now and then something slips out in a photograph. And anyway, I'm yapping on. So
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like years pass, we have these pictures of Audrey Hepburn. Thankful for that. I love the idea of celebrity photography. I like the little extra charge you get out of seeing your favorite star in these images, and how nice of them to have this thing that you have in a book that you can look at forever. And so there goes my train of thought. And so there we are. No, I was just thinking,
this is awesome.
no. It's just as the years go by, or for me anyway, I think less and less about what I think some of the original intent was in creating these images, which was to sell Oscar Isaac in the Frankenstein movie, perhaps. It's the profile. The articles melt away, the magazine melts away. We have, either that gets published in a book or it gets put on the web or whatever. And what's left is the artifact itself. I mean, you look at that Karsh picture of, yes, Audrey Hepburn is an object in the picture, but wow. It's that the remnants of what's left behind. This was the capture of, this, whatever it was, fired the flash 60th of a second on his, whatever his 4x5 view camera. It's like, we've got it, kind of forever. And this is the metaphysical aspect of photography that bubbles up every now and then. We've got this kind of permanent record of who, what, when, where. And for me, the idea that it is a celebrity image is great, and I love that. But what we get are these, there were reasons for these people to get together creatively.
Right.
The actor on one side, the photographer on the other, and you like certain photographers and certain celebrities better than others. But we have this whole kind of genre of portrait photography that's very specific and that has value on its own, that in some way, depending on how you want to think about it, culturally elevated a little bit more than somebody's family. Or, you think of, I was reading an article today about Sally Mann and the way she documented her family. And that has its own kind of cachet and its own kind of reflective quality to it, where these celebrity images, I mean, usually they're right on the money. They're not like ebb and flow. It's sort of like, bang, here's what you get, here's this. I mean, the Oscar Isaac is a series. I mean, it's a like a pictorial, a shoot.
Right.
And it has I don't know that the images really have an ebb and flow. It's like, here's Oscar doing this, here's Oscar doing that kind of thing, I
mean, it really is more like a fashion shoot, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Less than, but I mean, we look at these individual images of these other, actors and politicians, and it's like, it's a one punch, like you get it all in the frame, Well, and I think that's for me, that's the value of it as the years go by. A little bit different from other forms.
I was thinking about, as you're mentioning that, and I'm thinking about the Avedon giant panoramic portraits that he made of like the Chicago 7 or the architects of the Vietnam War, right? And that's interesting because they're not necessarily celebrities, but they're, what's the word? I was going to say notorious or nefarious. That's not the word. You got to help me out. They're
well known.
Well, they're known, right? I mean, they're we know these people. We're not necessarily seeing them. I mean, well, the Chicago 7 might be maybe more visibly recognizable than the architects of the Vietnam War.
Yeah, you have to read the blurb when you look at those pictures.
Yeah,
right?
you do. But like you also had Andy Warhol and the all of his cohort from the factory there, and of course Andy Warhol is the one that stands out because if you don't know the factory, you probably know him. But they like those served many different purposes. I mean, Avedon is photographing at this higher level, and he's able to access the all these politicians and soldiers who are keeping the Vietnam War going, and that then becomes like, I mean, it's a group portrait. It's got so many levels to it, but it does rise to that level of celebrity. And I mean celebrity not in the terms of actors and performers and stuff like that. People who are in the news, people who are well known, people who are acting at levels higher than we usually travel around. So those kinds of portraits, they tap into something different. And I want you to help me parse this out a little bit. Maybe you can help me sort of figure out this train of thought that I'm sort of stumbling with here.
Okay. Well,
go ahead. Good.
No, just, we talk about making a permanent record of the actor and the who, what, when, where.
Right.
With the Chicago 7, I don't know what their faces look like. I don't know who they are really. I mean, if you bring up,
you've heard of Abby Hoffman, right? But never, I'm not saying, but you might be the more recognizable of the whole group. But.
Right. But what Avedon is doing, I think very, very deliberately, is just capturing them as this is their moment in history.
Right.
And there's a historical aspect to it that here are these people, here's what they look like, and it's Avedon, it's driving. So he's creating something, I don't know, bigger, different, Avedon-y, of these people, just so that they're interesting from a historical point of view. They will inevitably, I mean, if they're any kind of political charge in any of this, you're going to get a reaction from your viewer, right? And not just fawning, man crush or girl crush on this current movie star. but there's a reaction to it. The whole thing about art shaking your brain, like you should have some kind of reaction to it. And
Mm.
with subjects like the Chicago 7, it's, if you're an American, you're likely to have a visceral reaction
Right, right,
to what
right,
you're looking at, right?
right.
So I think on that level, there's a bit of a different. I think it's less shallow. You're thinking more about who these people are, and like, you're scanning them. Are you reading the expressions on their face? Are they mocking? Are they
Hmm.
serious? Or like, who are they? Are they interacting with each other? And like, what kind of club is that inside the frame? I think it's like I say, it's different than,
Mm.
like the Farrah Fawcett picture, set it aside from,
Hmm.
typical celebrity photography. And this is kind of the same. This is like a kind of a cultural celebrity or cultural subject.
Hmm.
Think of
Yeah.
pictures of politicians in the
Yeah, well, I
same,
was going to
sort of in
say
the
that
same realm.
like the Platon picture of Putin. I mean, who was
Mm.
in control of who was looking like what in that photo shoot? I mean, who do you think? You know?
Okay, I have a story about that because there was a
Oh, go
documentary on
ahead.
Platon
Okay.
where he said the scariest 20 minutes of his life was going to take that picture of Putin. So he had two setups. He had the one where he's sitting in the chair, and then he had
Hmm.
the other one where he's like,
Really
he's
close up,
staring
right?
down the barrel of very close up, that wide
Yeah.
angle. And he was met by two guys who could only be described as like mafia thugs,
Hmm. Hmm.
watching him.
Hmm.
He'll be a few minutes, and it was waiting, 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 waiting. And I've forgotten how long, and I don't want to say it was hours or minutes. It was a long time that he was waiting. And then he sat down. I believe Putin spoke to him in English, and he said, I would like to do this. I'd like to do that. And he's like, okay. He felt this chill, like he was in the presence of evil, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he got those pictures and he got the heck out of there. And that was the
It's
feeling.
yeah, it came
And
across in the picture. So,
and
I
that came
mean,
across. There was a coldness going
yeah,
on in there.
I wonder if he understood that before when he did the setups because like somehow you're coming into I have to imagine when photographers are photographing celebrity that
Mm-hmm.
you're coming in with the whole story. You're coming in with the characters these people have played. You're coming in with the actions that these people have done over time. All that baggage because they're well-known public figures is there for us to as a photographer to we know this, right? It's not like
Mm-hmm.
you've just dropped in from, Mars and you know what Putin is, you know the kind of person he is. So you're already coming in with this sense of like, okay, well, here's this guy who's X, Y, and Z. I'm going to photograph him in these ways. So somewhere in the background, knowing you're photographing them, but with a certain kind of look to say a certain kind of story,
Mm-hmm.
because the long chain of stuff
Yeah.
behind them. You
Yeah.
know, same thing with celebrity. Like this picture of somewhere there's a picture of I don't can't remember who did it of Sylvester Stallone. It's a Rips picture
Mm-hmm.
him lifting up somebody. I don't know, maybe was it his wife at the time? I can't remember. But, Stallone is shirtless and stuff like that. And I think in that picture, again, Stallone's background, you know what's going on, it,
Mm-hmm.
in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
a lot different than like if all of a sudden, her wrist dropped in to take a picture of one of us. They don't know us. And
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, it's interesting because of like someone like Irving Penn or Avedon, they were doing both, right? They were taking
Mm-hmm.
pictures of people of unknowns and knowns,
Mm-hmm.
and the pictures are so similar in some
Mm-hmm.
way. Like they're treated in the same way. I don't know if Platon is doing the same thing, but
I don't know
it's
any non-celebrity pictures of his, but
yeah, I know. Neither do I. But or even like Dan Winters,
mm-hmm.
Dan Winters is approaching his subjects all very similarly. I mean, I know, he was photographing all the stuff at NASA and the spacesuits, almost like they were portraits. But those have a history as well. In a
Mm-hmm.
sense, those are also celebrity.
Yeah, he's
Even though they're still
elevating
life.
them the way he would elevate a
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting when a photographer comes in when it's the other way around, and I'm not sure if I know any of these stories, but when a photographer who doesn't know the person's background, like a famous person, like how would they photograph them? How would they, how would you, if you and I were paired up with some celebrity from another country that we had no idea about, like how would we treat them?
Right.
It'd be a very interesting kind of play on that thing. But I do think that the photographers who are doing this are very much wanting to walk in that world as well. And there's nothing wrong with it. I just think that's they walk in that world and they understand what's going on and they know how to present their subjects in such a way that all that background that they carry, they bring with them into the studio and they photograph it and they show it in the face, like the Joseph Karsh picture of Churchill. What did he do? He took his cigarette away, or he took his cigar away, or his
cigar
brandy
out of his mouth. Yeah,
really got him pissed off, right?
Yeah. That's the picture he got.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what you think about where I'm going with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, photographers have their style, right? And so,
right, yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter in a certain case. And I was going to interrupt before about it depends on the participation of the art director or the movie studio. Sometimes
there's always somebody else involved.
Takes a spin, and you hear stories of the art people and the studio or the agency or whatever standing looking at the monitor with your cameras tethered. And they go, oh, I like that one. I don't like that one. That would kill me.
Right. Yeah.
And so I guess you can call it collaborative.
Yeah. Probably one of the advantages of someone like Avedon had, because he was shooting film and didn't have to have that done, like all that other stuff was done in the background in the dark room and whatnot, maybe without the art director saying X, Y, and Z. But today
I mean, there would still be like a contact sheet with red X's on it, like.
Oh yeah.
Still,
but you still had the ability to photograph them and shoot them, and then you still had those in your, like an art director saying, no, delete that picture.
Yeah,
there was maybe less of that, but yeah. So anything else? Come on.
Yeah, what about that?
Wait, hang on. I got one more thing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's still kind of a thriving industry as far as I know, celebrity photography. Maybe it's gone past the golden age, but I mean, we see pictures of Oscar Isaac, and if there's some newer actors and coming up, or even directors now, their feed, now we have directors as celebrity, and now we can, it's because of whatever you want to say, if it's streaming or whatever. Now directors are having to come out and kind of peddle their wares a little bit more. I think since the 90s and Tarantino and the Coen brothers, like we're getting to learn who these people are, and they're getting profiled and photographed as well. So it's not just a pretty face on the screen. It's pulling up from the industry.
Yeah. And
find interesting as well.
Yeah. And also I think something interesting that's going on in our culture now, where celebrity is being, it used to be sort of the pyramid, right? Where there was only a few at the top and the rest of us were down here. And now with things like, social media and YouTube and influencers and stuff like that, the celebrity has diffused down a bit, whereas, what is celebrity, right? Is celebrity just because we see somebody on TV or we follow them or read their books? Or, I mean, what is it now? And
it's your favorite niche, right? Your favorite gamer that happens to go to the Twitch conference,
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, it's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, I was talking about all the stuff we were talking about so far was celebrity on a higher level in terms of like, exclusive people in Hollywood and really top of the line photographers who have been maybe handpicked by people to have their photographs taken. Actually, I was really curious how many of the photographers we were talking about approached the talent to photograph them, or was vice versa. I don't know if I know.
I don't know how
any of those stories. Someone says, "Oh, Dan Winters, I want Dan Winters to take a picture of, Tom Hanks, right? I want, we're going to arrange that." Or does Dan Winters say, "Hey, Tom, I want to take a picture. Hey, I want to do your portrait," or something. But yeah, I'm really curious about that. But I've always loved it. And who was the photographer who did the book Jump with all the, we just talked about this a
Philippe
lot.
Halsman.
Halsman, right?
Philippe Halsman, yeah.
And a lot of the people in that, not everybody, but there's many people in that are celebrities doing this crazy jump for his camera, right?
Well, it's part of the novelty of electronic flash, right? It was like we could freeze people in the air.
Yeah. But I mean, would that be like going to Salvador Dali and saying, "Hey, I just have this new technology where we can freeze people in the air. Do you want to be in the photograph?" I mean, I don't know how that came about, but he's the one who took the picture of we all know that crazy shot of Salvador Dali and the cats in the water.
Cats in the water.
Yeah. And so, the other thing is, and maybe we could wrap it up soon about this, but it's interesting to put all the photographs of different photographers of the same personality together and see how they approach. So, there's your Irving Penn shot of Salvador Dali in the corner. Remember, you put all these people in corners, and Dali is sort of sitting there on a box with his legs akimbo, very symmetrical in that, with his, his signature mustache and his look when he's looking right at the camera. And then there's this one of him jumping with the cats. And then I don't know who the photographer is, but there's the picture of him coming out of a subway in Paris with an airtvark. Have you ever seen that picture of him?
No. Oh,
it's like he's got an airtvark on a leash.
Memory of it.
He's got an airtvark on a leash, and in a sense, that's almost like a street portrait, right? Like, oh, you just happen to walk by a subway and Salvador Dali is coming out of there with his pet aardvark, which is just off the top. But I would put that in the same vein of celebrity photographers, but it's interesting to put all those together. And from those pictures, can you put together a persona of the person who's being photographed? I mean, maybe Dali you can. I mean, right off the bat and say, okay, the guy's thinking on another level.
He's surreal.
He is surreal. Yes. But what about things like Robert De Niro, who's been photographed by Platon and Avedon and Irving Penn and all these people, and some of those pictures of him, I find him very photogenic, and it'd be great to anyway. But it's interesting to see them all together, to see how every photographer does the same persona differently. And I think we're at the point where we can see these pictures anytime we want. We can log on and see them. But I think we're fortunate that these people let us see these pictures of them, especially the ones that appear to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that Meryl Streep shot, I think, fits the bill. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but that Meryl Streep fits it in some way where she's, we can probably make some stabs at her personality in that.
Platon's portraits too. I mean, they're very, they're, I won't say unflattering, but they're not traditional beauty. I mean, you look at, where we came out of from Hollywood movies, like there's no way you wanted an eyelash to be out of,
right.
We need to project this kind of perfection just to, keep the masses happier. So that's what they thought. And I like that this is changing and that we have these interesting and grittier portraits that they're gritty, but they're not necessarily negative too. Which, I mean, what I get a life force out of that Meryl Streep picture. I don't get an aging woman. Well, yeah, you get an aging woman too, right. But I mean, you can feel her force of personality.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're better off. We're better for it.
Actually, I did want to mention one picture when it just reminded me. There's a Cecil Beaton portrait of Fred Astaire, and he's sort of just sitting on something with a kind of a marbly looking background. And he's staring at the camera, and he looks fairly young in it. And there is something so disturbing about that picture to me. He looks like some kind of evil personality. And we know that Fred Astaire seems, I think, from what I know, at least his public persona is the complete opposite of that. And there's another picture of him in the same background, which is like it's a side view of him too, and it looks like it was taken. I don't know. It looks like it was taken in the 40s or something like that, or late 30s or something. Anyway, it's just interesting to see that in comparison to, talking about the Meryl Streep picture or something like that, where there's this total opposite of what's going on, I think, in the photograph. And it's that idea that it's very prepared, that it's the photographer is wanting to show this as this is the person who is this personality. And, I think everybody is agreeing that this is a great picture and a very controlled environment. So anyway, I'm just sort of rambling about that, but
it's a good point. I mean, you compare that to your Peter Lindbergh picture of Kate Winslet, which I had never seen that picture before. You put it in the show notes. I love it.
It's great, isn't it?
It's great. It's fantastic. Her hands up, keeping her jacket closed, and it's reminding me of Coney Island for some reason. That I don't know. It's just like breeze there somewhere. There's a pier or something behind her, and like out of focus. So I'm definitely all over that. But yeah, I mean, it's all this, vive la différence, right? Everything's different. All these. Yeah. Yes, that's what we're trying to say. So we've talked for an hour, and we say,
yeah.
It's great that everything's different. But
is that your takeaway from this, from the celebrity portraits? What do you got for the takeaway?
Well, no, I'm really valuing. I mean, and I did before in sort of an uninformed way of why I value and why I really like celebrity portraiture, especially, and the whole thing of the collaboration and the way people on both sides of the camera know what they're doing, and we have this, this product, this end result that is, almost always greater than the sum of the parts, and just a different discipline within photography. That there's a lot of effort that goes into creating these images, where you and I walk up and down the streets and take pictures of, runners and, touching signs and, people walking through a sweltering fairground. There are these things that are actually put together, and the effort is there, and you get these great results out of it. So
let me ask you, before we go, one thing, a couple of things. One, do you think, because it's a let's say a celebrity and a celebrity photographer, do you think there could be like a battle that goes on between them, like the silent battle where the photographer wants one thing, the subject wants something else, or wants to present themselves somehow, and they have this sort of silent little battle between each other? I mean, I'm sure that happens sometimes where each one up on the other, in some way.
Yeah, I think it could happen. I'm sure there are stories where it does, but I can't think of any.
No, I don't know any either. It's just, I'm imagining, because they're both trying to control the scene, right? The talent is trying to control how they appear to the world, and the photographer is also then trying to control how they produce the work so that they stay within the vision that they had, So I just imagine this little dance between them, maybe even silently. So the last thing I want to ask you before we wrap up, if you had to pick one celebrity picture that you really love, what would it be of? What's the picture?
And I know it's not a subject I really, kind of long for.
Yeah.
But it is a side view, kind of not a silhouette. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the portraity word for side view anyway? Profile.
Yeah.
Of Brooke Shields, taken by Robert Mapplethorpe.
Oh.
And I think she was 15 or 16 in the picture. And there's not desire or anything in that, although she's made up. She's a teenager. But it is so three-dimensional. Like, it took her from being in those silly, jeans ads to like a real person. Like, it made her three-dimensional. I look at it. I love it because for me, it has a cultural significance. That is my favorite kind of celebrity portrait. And it's not like anything else. It's kind of like off to the side. So that, that's the one that if I say, well, what's your favorite celebrity portrait? That's the one that just bubbles up to the top.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just because of what it is and who she was at that moment, and Mapplethorpe's aesthetic and the wonderful tones, and like, it's just, and her hair, like, just the highlights that he caught in her hair. It's like, it's fantastic. So that's the one. What about you, my friend?
What about me? Okay.
What about you?
Well,
I know you asked me because you had an answer too.
Well, so it's a toss up. I mean, I did speak a lot about the Audrey Hepburn picture by Irving Penn, which I really love, but it wasn't one of the first ones of Irving Penn that I saw. And the one that stands out to me, and it's a fairly obvious one, but there's something about it, is the shot of Picasso with the sort of cowboy hat on. He's sort of half of his face is covered with the collar of his jacket. You see one eye, and he's got this hat on. And I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Picasso either as a person or as an artist or something. And this picture has very little to do with his work. Like, it's not like duplicating, like, Salvador Dali jumping in the air with wet cats.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way, like, I know it's Picasso, like, just seeing his eye and the side of his nose. So it's great that you can hide his bald head and the rest of his face, and you still know who it is. And the lighting is just, I don't know. It's so simple and magnificent and complex at the same time. It shows so much of him and so little of him at the same time. And so, I'm sure there are other ones that I love just as much, but like the one that pops into my head immediately is that Picasso shot. And it's been duplicated so many times, and people have failed because they just can't, it's never the right combination. I love people that tried to do that, and I like the cropping in it. Like, you don't see the whole hat. The hat is cut off on sides, and you don't see the whole jacket or whatever he's wearing.
But it's perfectly cropped. I mean, the proportion of that image and that's what Penn did so well. Like, his proportions in the frame.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of portrait, celebrity portrait I would hang on my wall, and I'm sure a lot of people have done that because it's a very famous picture. But anyway, but I will say the Audrey Hepburn one feels like, of his work, a lot of his work is one of the ones that feels more real. I mean, they all feel real in some way, but there just seems to be such a good rapport between him and her in that photograph that it brings her down to, and I don't mean this down in a bad way, but brings her to a level that I can relate to. Like, she's just this person who's happens to be Audrey Hepburn and is just being photographed so wonderfully. And it's just a nice moment with the photographer. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from. So there we go.
I can't disagree.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. We talked about this. I do want to do deep dives into some of these people at some point. So, we'll keep them on our radar. I mean, the ones we haven't talked about already, in terms of having a whole show. Although I wouldn't mind revisiting Irving Penn at some point. For some reason, I think there's so much there we could talk about him. But anyway, that's our mid-November show. So great. Where are we finding you in the world these days, my friend?
You can find me on Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky at WRosinPhoto, on Instagram, where I put most of my stuff, on Ward Rosin Fine Art. You can find me on Facebook at Ward Rosin Photo, and my website, which I still need to add 2 more.
Sorry.
I got enough to do already.
I love this. I love it. People are listening to this.
My perpetually damaged website.
Yeah, okay.
Rosin.ca. There's more pictures I got to put in there, and I will eventually.
You've got a Squarespace site, right?
I got a Squarespace site.
It's the easiest site to update. You just drop pictures into it.
I know. I drop pictures and then I got to order them and I got to do
them. No, you don't. You just drop them in. Remember, perfect is the enemy of good. Get them in there, man. That's why in my website, I put a little place up where I put projects. That way I can keep dumping pictures in there and it won't be part of my portfolio. It's just a place to like, hey, this is what I'm working on now. Anyway.
All right.
But,
I mean, I could do that.
You can do that
because I don't put hardly any of my sports stuff anywhere. People don't really. I want to see.
I want to see your. Yeah, I want to see your Daytona stuff on your website. By the way,
and there's a few in there. They're just the arty ones, but I can do the more perfunctory kind of stocky ones too.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough about me. So, Antonio, where can we find you on the internet?
Yes. So on Blue Sky, I'm AM Rosario, and Instagram, I'm AM Rosario Photo, PHOTO. My website, which is Squarespace, and I really love, and they're not a sponsor of the show yet. It's amrosario.com. I do post a lot of stuff on my Facebook as well. My Facebook page is facebook.com Rosario Photo. I like doing it there because it's a whole other audience, so it's a lot of fun there. And I would like people to subscribe to our Substack newsletter. We're having a lot of fun there. So our Substack is streetshots.substack.com. And if you don't know what that is, you sign up for us and we send you out an article whenever we get to it time.
It's almost time for another one, isn't it?
It's almost time for another. I actually have another one, but it's sort of like, think of it as like a supplement to this show, like where we can both have our own little discussions. And we have we actually have a decent community of subscribers there. So anyway, join us there at streetshots.substack.com. And if you want to support the show and become an honorary producer and help us a little bit to pay for some of the electricity, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. Since, I'm paying the bills. So it'd be nice to be a honorary producer for the show. That would be great. So, yeah. And that's it. That's by the time we come back, it will have just passed Thanksgiving here in the States. So
happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we'll have. I'm not going to give away anything about the next show, but hopefully it will be slightly.
I'll say that I'm looking forward to it. Verily,
I'm looking forward to it too, in a different way than you. But
I think what we should do is we'll talk about those differences and what they mean.
Yes. We will. Okay, cool. All right. But until then, we shall bid everybody farewell and have a good Thanksgiving by the time you hear this. And Ward, thanks for joining me tonight.
Always a pleasure.
And let's say good night to everybody. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.